validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
Welcome to This and That, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. We are back to the full-length intros. They put us on a white list. You guys can find all of the songs that we air on This and That in our the description and the bio. Appreciate you, buddy. And yeah, we also have links where you can go and pick up the song if you want to buy the song in other areas like Amazon and other such. Today's show is going to be one of those members only shows that's open to the public, where we're going to be doing some Q&As on a lot of Q&As today. So we've got there's a lot of them. There's like 13 of them that we're going to try to squeeze into 2 hours because, I talk a lot. So as we get through this, we're going to be looking at some relationships that's gone wrong. We're going to be looking at some scenarios where the thing just didn't go down the way we thought it was going to go down. So if you guys want to chime in direct, you can click that link, approve the mic, approve the camera. And in doing so, you will have the opportunity to come on to the live. And after I approve that you are over the age of 18, put you up onto the main screen. All comments need to be appropriate while we're talking on the live. And then if you are not over the age of 18, comment section is where you're going to hang out, and still expecting the comments to be remotely appropriate. Open-minded, open forum podcast. So make sure that we are trying to be a little bit respectful to the individuals that are putting their 2 cents in, even if some people believe that other people are ridiculous. Try to articulate that in appropriate fashion. Either way, special shout out, because I see you to popped in real quick, so you knew we were coming. Special shout out to those of you that are on Twitch. Red Void, Omni81, Liberty Twitcher, Silly Emma, Jet, AJ. I appreciate you guys coming to the podcast. Make sure that if you have not done so and you are following us from Twitch or Twitter, that you hit the follow button there and also hit that subscribe button on YouTube so you get that push notification when we go live. This is going to be around about the timeline that we're going to be kicking off every night of the week, 7 nights a week. So just make sure that you stay tuned for that. We also got the outro song back, so after the show is over, you can hang out and rock out after the show a little bit before we move on to something else. So be available for that as well. Let me go ahead and get everything together, because you know what, I dove in and I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna make it work, we're gonna get it, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And then you know what I said, let me put the outros, put it in there, and then when I tried to put it in there, it didn't sit well. I was like, dang, now I have to do some adjustments. So let's go ahead and get these.
At 45, my
going.
girlfriend, who is 36, of a 6-year-long relationship, kissed someone at a club last night.
Hold on a
and
second,
I don't know what to do. My girlfriend went out.
Now, I know for a fact that we should have some audio for these here comments. Let me make sure, because I know that I'd be turning my sound down.
At 45, my girlfriend.
And nope. All right. So hold on a second. We're going to grab the other one, because I actually have a laundry list of these. And every now and again, we have this issue where stuff doesn't load. And the reason why stuff doesn't load is because the internet is not our friend. So today we're going to get it again. We got it.
At 45, my girlfriend, who is 36, of a 6-year-long relationship, kissed someone at a club last night.
Did it not?
I don't know what to do.
To do.
My girlfriend went out with a few work
improvising. We have to grab that audio file, because I actually grabbed a large quantity for you guys for today. And unfortunately, since the internet is not always our friend, the technology is your friend until it is not your friend. That's typically how it works. So we depend on technology to give us what we want, and then at some point it tends to give us the middle finger, and then we have to adapt to that. So as I try to pull this audio file up a second time, because I actually had to I had to go through a lot of questions and comments from a lot of the fans. And then as I went through those questions and comments, I had to take all of the most interesting ones that you guys would love to see and hear and bring those into one location so that we could evaluate some of the stuff that I come across on a daily basis. And hopefully you guys have some opinions and potentially some advice for these individuals, because a lot of these are pretty interesting. I make it a point to not be biased against the comments that are there. So I'm not only going to put up one-sided comments that are only in favor of a specific type of trend. I prefer to just, if it sounds like that's a good story to talk about, or if that sounds like something that a lot of people might resonate with, then I would grab that, regardless of if I'm for or against it. So don't think that I went through hundreds of scenarios and just only grabbed a specific kind. No, I took the time to say, you know what, the first 15 or 20 that I find that looks good, they're going in. That's exactly what happens. So for those of you that have questions and comments for the podcast and you guys decide to put those up, if you make it inspiring, if you tell us a horror story, drama story, achievement story, that I'm gonna look at that and be like, oh yeah, that's what's up. Because I put up the story about the guy who found what he believed to be his lifelong love. I threw it up there because, you know, that's fantastic. That does happen. Not regularly, but it does happen. But more often than not, we've got some pretty catastrophic ones that come up here, and I don't really know what to tell you about a lot of them. So I don't even read the whole thing a lot of the times. A lot of the times I'll kind of glance at it a little bit and see if somebody wrote 5 paragraphs, they definitely put their heart into that. Usually the shorter comments that's like a paragraph long or 3 to 5 sentences long are usually the ones that are like less interested, less involved. They just had to say something to say something. But the ones that are like 3, 5, 7 paragraphs long, you'll hear it. Some of these, they're going to be like 3 minutes to 5 minutes explaining their position. They actually took the time to really articulate what was on their mind. And those are typically like, I'll look at like 5 paragraphs, like, yep, that's going to be a good story. And I put it up there because nobody's going to have gibberish. No one's going to literally type gibberish because it takes a longer time to type in complete words, complete structuralized sentences with proper grammar. It takes a lot longer to type that than it is to just to get your point across than it is to try to throw down on just some random gibberish from time to time. So it's one of those things that, you know, I definitely take those people who put their hearts into it. I definitely take those. Let's see if this one's going to work for us better.
At 45, my girlfriend, who is 36,
for some reason, we're not getting audio sound. I know that there is some audio sound in here. Let's check, double check, and triple check. Yes, we have audio sound. So why are we not getting audio sound from the audio file? I don't know. Today is not my day when it comes to the technology. I think there was an issue because when I was trying to pull up StreamYard today, everything was kind of flickering. And I was like, what is that about? It wasn't the browser. So I'm not too sure what was causing the issue. But I'm going to try this one more time. And then if I can't give you the audio file, I can actually take the time to read these audio files. I would prefer not to have to read these audio files, but I do have the text. I would prefer because I could tell you like what they had to say was pretty interesting, but let's just be honest. It wasn't my forte as to, and then I forgot one. It wasn't my forte to grab these and sit there and try to journalize every single individual's Q&As. Look, we're live, so you know the show must go on. So when I end up with a live show and something like this happens, I've got to make it work. Ooh, I pulled that one really far away. All right, so we're gonna try this one more time. Like I said, try to pull this audio file out. We're gonna try it in 480p this time. Hopefully, it could just be the internet not taking the audio file. We'll figure it out. In the meantime, as I try to get this into an effective audio file position, you know, when we're trying to get crunch time, because I wanted to make sure that I started the show on time this time around, you know, I had to finish doing what I was doing, piece together the files, and then make sure that everything worked as far as getting the intros and outros up there. Kind of forgot to test the audio file here because it's usually effective and it usually functions. Now, watch, I'm going to be sitting over here rewatching the show at the end of the show, and then I would be like, you know what? It played every time, and it was just my headphones that I didn't hear it. But, you know, I kind of can't believe that would be the thing because I just heard the intro. So I could only assume that there's something else going on with the studio. And I'm not exactly sure what that is. So one more go around. I might have to back out of the studio, jump back in, and then play the song. I don't know. But we're going to get it today. in the meantime, while we're doing that, I can let you guys know that I got a couple of topics that we're going to start talking about soon. Tomorrow's Monday. We're going to be talking about Amazon's union development. We're going to talk about that on Monday. And there's a couple of other topics that I was thinking about doing on Tuesday and Wednesday that I think might be beneficial for us. So we might actually dive into those as well. Because we're not 100% of the time going to only talk about business and finance. We got to talk about everything else around the world that affects us, because when you think about how those Amazon workers went on strike, you got to think about how your orders are going to be delayed, and those people whose orders are going to be delayed, anybody who's a content creator, your package is going to be delayed by a few days, because I mean, they shut down productivity. So that's going to negatively impact Amazon's ability to succeed. So anybody who was supposed to be getting paid to produce isn't going to be able to produce on time, because they don't have the ability to get their products in a timely fashion. Sales is going to be down from drop shippers and e-commerce stores, because the orders are going to be backed up because the warehouse stopped working. So that's going to be an issue as well. There is a lot of stuff that is going to happen with something as simple as the people like changing over what they're going to be doing with the payments and hours and salaries and benefits, everything like that, because all of the expenses of the company is offset onto the customer. So while the employees feel like they accomplished something, we'll be talking about this tomorrow, that we'll be understanding how they may have caused more harm than good after they decided to go ahead and put the company under. Oh, that's what happened. See, file size, there is no way that is a 32 gig file. All right, so now I see what happened. So I have to, it is the app. So I was using Microsoft Clipchamps to put this stuff together, and it is acting up. So I don't know, maybe I have to download an updated version of it. But what ends up happening is that I have to have Microsoft Clipchamp not only on the browser, I also have to have the app. And the reason being is because every now and again, when it comes down to downloading a file, it does not download 100% of the file. It downloads a percentage of the file. And when it downloads a percentage of the file, you end up losing the audio. And then when you end up losing the audio, when you end up losing the audio, you end up, what are they doing? Hold on. And that's what happened. It lost the audio. How do you lose the audio and the audio is on? Oh, that's why, because the browser is turned off. Okay. Because I was about to say, like, it is on there. How do you lose the audio file? It lost the audio file. It's crazy. It is crazy. It's one of those things where we might have a few less of them. Let me see. So what I was saying about the Amazon situation was that those guys are there. Okay, so there's the audio file there. We're going to be talking about how that negatively impacted everybody. Where are these files? Let's go to, would it be music? Nope. Would it be? Nope. I can see why it's not allowing us to save it. It is going to be one of those things where I'm probably going to have to improvise. So let me go ahead and improvise. All right. Not my day. Well, we may only do 10 of these because this is a lot to read. So we have a guy here that says, at 45, my girlfriend, who is 36, of a 6-year-long relationship, kissed someone at a club last night, and I don't know what to do. Guy says, my girlfriend went out with a few work colleagues last night for a Christmas party. Well, we are around Christmas time. He says her and one other colleague ended up in the club and she got very drunk. I was due to be the taxi home for them, but as soon as she got in the car, she blurted out that she had kissed someone, but it was okay, according to her, because I told them I had a boyfriend. I told her I was not okay. Later on the journey, she let it slip. It may have been more than one. She was blacked out drunk after throwing up several times. So then wasn't the time to really discuss it. I said I would sleep in my son's room, but I haven't been able to sleep. Of course not, because your girl is out there throwing it back in the streets. Had you not been the designated driver, she probably would have went home with one of those guys and slept with them and came back and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had an affair because I was drunk." Guy says, our relationship is generally very good, but I have 101 thoughts racing in my brain, and I really don't know how to even approach this. She's very affectionate normally towards me. We have one child each that lives with us. So that's a Brady Bunch scenario, and are very much like siblings. Later, she got up. She said, sorry, I was the worst version of myself last night, and asked if we talk later, as she needed to continue sobering up and dealing with her hangover. I need to do some Christmas shopping, so I guess this will be later this evening. So later that evening, he comes back and says, we've just spent 5 hours talking. I promised myself I'd make no decisions today. I've been up for nearly 42 hours and have not eaten in 24. She's not what I would call a drunk, but does on occasion drink far too much to the point that it's dangerous. Maybe every other year or so, she remembers just picking up random drinks from tables while she's dancing, which is crazy dangerous. She says she's going to work on herself. I was one guy, and she says she probably, no, it was one guy, and she says she probably instigated it. It was not her female coworker that she went to the club with. So, Guy, I can tell you firsthand that in this particular situation, you've been with this girl long enough to know that she's a lush. You understand if she has a low tolerance. You understand if when she drinks too much, she acts inappropriate, because you've been with her for 6 years. You also understand that out of that 6 years, that at least 3 times in the last 6 years, because you say that it's like a every other year kind of thing, that at least 3 times in the last 6 years, she has gotten completely wasted, which also means that more often than not, she has done things that you have had to try to stop her from doing while she's intoxicated. So knowing this, you knew that your girlfriend was going out to a Christmas party with her colleagues, and you chose to allow her to swing that swing without parental supervision. I'm going to call it parental supervision. Women don't like to be monitored by their boyfriends. They feel like he's not her dad, but he is her protector, especially when she's in a vulnerable state. And if she is going to throw her ambitions to the wind and party like a rock star and drink till the sun rises, then she needs to have somebody there who's determined to make sure that she's safe. Even if she has her homegirls there that can cock block for a little bit, the fact is that more often than not, if everyone's drunk, the excitement of her making out with a random stranger is going to be like salutes and cheers, not so much you shouldn't be doing that, stop, come here. So the fact is that to protect your relationship, as well as protect your girlfriend from any guy that might encourage her to go home with him, pretending like he's her boyfriend because she's not coherent. Because we have to understand that in order for us to recognize that there are good men in this world, we have to recognize that there are monsters in this world as well. And those predatory men that would take advantage of a vulnerable woman would be the ones that would be in the nightclub when they recognize that a girl that got herself drunk He didn't have to do anything to her. That now all he has to do is capitalize on a situation and potentially have him a positive night that could be a nightmare for her. So to protect her, it would have been best to be a fly on the wall at the colleagues' night out. And since you're picking her up from the club anyway, you should have just went, because I have never seen an office party where the husbands and wives are not allowed. The office parties typically allow the family, so you should have gone to the office party, or at least picked her up from the office party and took her to the nightclub if you were busy and you were going to catch up with her later. Either way, by the time she decided to go to that nightclub, you should have been there. So to be upset and frustrated with her is clearly justifiable to a sense. It's just a simple fact that there's no reason why you should be really mad at her because you wasn't there to do your part as her boyfriend or her husband after 6 years. Now, after 6 days, you could be like, nah, she's a drunk. I'm not going to mess with that. You can walk away. But 6 years, you know what you're getting into. So, ladies, I'm not even going to tell you guys that, on a one-sided mindset that, if you guys screw up once in your marriage, that it's over, it's over. That's not true. Let's be real. Everybody makes mistakes, men and women alike. And after 6 years, you kind of understand the kind of mistakes that your partner might make, and you're supposed to circumvent that. So, ladies, if you're dating a man that when he does start drinking, he drinks too much, you're the person that says, well, after 3 or 4 drinks, you start changing into a type of person I don't like. So I'm not going to let you drink that much. You might have 1, you might have 2, but at some point, come the third one, it's like, nah, this is the last one. You're drinking waters from here on out. Or if you're drinking and you're going to drink 4, 5, or 6, I'm going to go to the bartender and I'm going to tell the bartender, let's do half-ounce shots, less liquor, more other stuff, because he's going to drink like 8 of these and I want it to be the equivalent of 4. I understand the price. I just don't want him to get too drunk because I can't carry him out of here. Stuff like that. And you just got to make sure that you protect your spouse. You got to protect their image. You got to protect their best interest. So I would say, buddy, go get you something to eat. It's been 24 hours since you ate. I would say that it's a smart move to let that pass and come to the understanding with your girlfriend or your wife that after 6 years, you guys should never be allowed to go somewhere without your significant other with the intent to start drinking, much less get hammered, because people's inhibitions are lowered. The first drink might loosen you up. The third drink might let you just start throwing them back. Suppressed alcoholism. You could be an alcoholic and never drink a drop. But that one time that you get just enough alcohol in your system, the floodgates come in and you just start throwing back drink after drink after drink, especially if you're not paying for those drinks. You will start taking bottles to the throat because you're not paying for it. And that's going to be the situation where your alcoholism shines through. And in those situations, you need somebody to tell you it's time to stop. Because while, yeah, you can go to AA, yeah, you can spend a lot of time trying to fix something that's not broken. But truth of the matter is that unless you develop self-control, you need somebody there to stop you, which also means that you have to respect the decision of the person next to you, no matter how much you've had to drink. And maybe you have to get it on recording while they're sober that they solemnly vow to do whatever you say when they start drinking, so that they don't have to, so that you don't have to argue with them, because they're not going to argue with themselves. So if that's a situation, you're able to work through it. So I strongly recommend, buddy, that in this particular situation, you give her another chance. It's not like she does this on a regular basis. Apparently, it's once every other year, according to you. So if she turns into a werewolf on a full moon once every 2 years, then on that day you want to chain her up and make sure she doesn't go anywhere without your knowledge or consent, because otherwise you're going to be in a bad spot. Now, let's go ahead and double check the other one. we have I asked out one of the CrossFit coaches at my gym, got rejected, and now she's showing me attention. About a month ago, I asked out one of the CrossFit coaches at my gym after getting to know her for the last year and her giving me signals, or at least that's what you thought. I am not sure how old she is, but she turned me down. As a result, I stopped talking to her, attending her classes, flirting with her, and liking anything on her social medias. After a month of avoiding her, we cross paths at the gym, and she says hi to me. I just give a quick hi and don't engage in the conversation. Right after the workout, I went over to the lounge where she was on the side of me and asked, uh, do you like the workout? I replied, not really, but I finished it. Shortly after, I went to hit, what is this, accessory bench press workout, and she asked, what are you hitting? Me, just some bench press. I was trying to act cordial, but not engage in any kind of conversation and just give one breath answers. Whew. A week later, the other day, I was attending the 4 p.m. class while she was coaching the 5 p.m. class. When I got there early at 3:40 p.m., I warmed up and she happened to also be there. She playfully and teasingly asked, "Why don't you come to my class?" I playfully responded, "I have a trip to pack up for." She says, "So, I don't care." And the conversation ended there. The other day, I posted an Instagram story on my trip, and she liked my stories again. How do I go about this situation, and what do y'all make of it? Well, I can tell you she's getting paid to be there, so she's not liking you and following you around and encouraging you to join her class because she thinks that you're awesome. I can also tell you that because she's getting paid to be there, a lot like one of those chicks that would be getting paid to be there as an escort. If she is liking you and following you around because she actually likes you when you made the advance, then one of two things would happen. One, she would remind you that she's not supposed to have relationships with her clients. Or two, she would take you up on her offer. Three, she might tell you that she's not allowed to have relationships with her clients. So if in the event that they're going to establish a relationship, he would have to quit her class. Because he can work out at the same gym that she works at, but she can't really date the people who's paying her to train them. You have to remember that if you have a gym membership and your gym membership includes a personal trainer, that a percentage of your membership goes to that personal trainer. If you're paying the personal trainer directly, any person who drops out of the class is no longer paying her. So in either situation, the same way a call girl is no longer getting tipped out from the table that is no longer getting service from her, a personal trainer that is no longer getting paid out for the less head count due to you taking somebody else's class, she's going to do what she can to encourage you to get back into her class. That doesn't mean that she likes you. A female can flirt for her occupation the same way a man can be polite for his occupation. Doesn't mean that you like the other person. It just means that you're doing what it takes to get paid. Since putting on a positive flirtatious behavior normally convinces the opposite sex to show up and receive that positive attention, because here in America, we typically don't get that positive experience in our relationships or from our partners, or a lot of the times from our friends or family. The point is that when we do get that level of affection, we assume it to be genuine, not done for pay. And then we assume that we're in a situation where that particular person is going to really change the way we see life. We don't always think about what we're doing because we're going to somebody else's job as a customer, and then we fall for the person at their job. At their job, they're paid to be nice to you, even if they hate your guts. So you don't know if they really like you unless, of course, you ask them out. Now, if you ask them out and they're like, "Oh yeah, we can get some drinks sometime, blah, 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 then you've got something. But if you're in a situation where, like in your case, sir, you made the first attempt, and then after you made the first attempt, she shut you down, that means that she was never interested in you, right? Her following your, so you have some people that are into attention. They're attention seekers. And because they're attention seekers, what happens is that while you're giving them attention, you've got their undivided attention. They don't really want you. They just want your attention. And being a personal trainer, she's probably got a lot of attention if there's 10 or 20 people in her class or more. She, especially being an attractive woman that's physically fit, she's probably got a lot of buff guys that are drooling over her on a regular basis, and they can't have her, which means that that's going to be a big ego boost. And you're going to probably see the fact that if any one individual that gave her extra attention is no longer there to give her extra attention, there's going to be a detachment phase that she's going to have to get used to. And it's more to the mentality of a little bit of narcissism, that egotistically she's got to figure out, like, why are you not interested in her anymore? But it's still part of her job. So she doesn't care that you like her. She just wants to know why you're not interested in her anymore. Well, your interest is part of your affection. So since your affections were shut down, your interests are derailed. She's not going to catch on to that. Like, you would have to be honest to her and tell her straight up, well, to prevent from making things awkward in your class, I no longer attend your class because the feelings that I have for you would distract my workout. So to prevent from having to change gyms and get a membership somewhere else, and to prevent from making you feel uncomfortable while you're at work, I avoid you at the gym. If you just come straight out and tell her what's what, because I would prefer to take what we've had over the past year to another level, and it's not going to happen that way. So I would prefer that I distance myself from you before I turn this into something that's going to be uncomfortable for the both of us. It's just a clear and concise scenario. If we did that,
at 45, my girl.
Oh, look at that. We got the audio file to work out. Let's see if we can upload it now. So when we're able to do that, that's when we're able to say, well, I've done my due diligence. I've been honest about it. And now it is up to her to
At 45, my girlfriend, who is 36, of a 6-year-long relationship.
The audio file. It's the channel. I wonder. I tell you guys what, hold on just a minute. I'm going to back out of this. I'm going to see if I can load this up one more time and dive back in and see if I can get the audio file. You know what? Never mind. Screw it. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to move on to the next one. Because I can clearly see that this is going to be one of those things that's going to irk my nerves, and I'm going to try my best to work on it for the entire thing. So let's not do that, because we've got about an hour left, because I actually have a client at midnight, and I want to make sure that I can get through most of these. So we have another fan here, a lady. She says, dating as a 28-year-old female, what else besides apps work for you? I'm going to tell you before we even get started in this, ma'am, if you start talking to people in person, you're not going to get the disrespectful behavior that you get on the apps. But let's go ahead and see what she has to say. I feel like on dating apps, it's so painfully obvious why a lot of people are on there. Not most, though, but a good chunk of people. So many low hygiene, low effort, and narcissistic people on there that I legitimately cried after a week of swiping and texting people. I have no issues texting men first, and I am really self-conscious about my body and the pictures I put up. I also try to include a few of my artworks in there. Well, let's stop right there before I keep going. So, ma'am, you're not supposed to be putting provocative pictures of yourself up there, so you shouldn't have to worry about being subconscious. Truth be told, from a male point of view, if you've got to put your rear end in the photo, then you're not valuable. If you're gonna give like a full on like head to toe shot, I would say at the most a 30-degree pivot. But if I've got to get a back shot where you're looking back at the camera, that's not because the only thing that a man is going to look at a photo like that and think about is sleeping with you. So understandably, men are remotely shallow. So if a man that wants a woman that's not too heavy, he might want to see a head to toe to see if she's got a stomach. Even if she's slim, but she might still have a stomach that is larger than her top. So, the certain physical attributes that are a little bit more than a face. But if you want a man that wants you for your face, for who you are, then really you shouldn't have nothing other than a profile shot, which is above the cleavage and the face. Got your shoulders in there, but that's pretty much it. But you also have to take into consideration, social media has set this unwritten rule that any attributes that you believe that somebody might not be attracted to, you probably want to put that in a photo and put it up on the platform, because if they look at the photo and they're not down for that, that's going to be the deal breaker. So if you put a full size photo of yourself up there and they don't like your body type, they're not going to follow through. If you have tattoos and you show off your tattoos in the photo and they're not down for that, they're not going to follow through. You show your piercings, as long as they're appropriately located and the person doesn't like the quantity of piercings that you have, they're not going to follow through. But if they see this in the photo, they know that you're carrying these characteristics. And if that's not something that you're interested in, you're not supposed to follow through with the female just so that you can sleep with her. So putting up an appropriate photo of yourself, I would tell all women, especially with this 4B movement, instead of wearing tight clothes and short shorts and stuff that shows off your private areas, you want to put on something baggy, something conservative, something that goes below your knees, that goes almost up to your neck, that covers your belly button, that might even cover 2/3 of your arms, where you're dressed as if you're going to court, to the library, to a funeral, to a wedding, and you're not overly emphasizing your figure. Because if you don't want a man to pick you for your body, you want a man to pick you for your mind. You don't want to advertise your body in the photo when you want a man that wants you for your attitude, your personality, your heart, your can-do behavior. You don't want them to just be all about, oh, I could smash that. So if you change the photos that you put up, you change the type of men that click your profile to begin with. Now, let's move on to what else she has to say. She says she also tried to pull up the artwork. Okay, so like, lo and behold, sadly, so many men turn very nasty and explicit after 1 to 2 messages. Okay, and it's such a disrespectful manner. It turned me off completely. Of course, because they have no responsibility. Anybody on social media that's talking to you has absolutely no accountability at all. There's never a scenario where you're talking to somebody and if they say something disrespectful, that they're going to get slapped in the mouth or punched or beat up or in any way, shape. They're not going to get arrested for what they're saying to you. If you block their comments, they can no longer comment to you. That's about it. But they very rarely get banned off of the platform that they're talking to you on because of the one comment they said to you. If the comment is too much of a hate speech type of comment, they might remove the profile or suspend it for a few minutes or a day or two, but that's pretty much it. But it's not, people know how not to go too far. And then the freedom of speech rights here in America allows them to go too far in comparison to your personal preference. So you just got to understand that if you talk to people in person, you don't get that. Now, a lot of the men also don't even reply back or ghost mid-conversation when I ask them whether they're free in the follow-up days, weeks, or not. I'm going to be real with you. That's just a social media thing. If a guy is talking to you, he's kind of interested, but, it could be either way. And then he finds a girl that's willing to hook up with him. He's not going to follow up with you because he's hooking up with her. then again, men have full-time jobs. So he might be talking to you right now. He might have hooked up with the chick. So now he's working for the next 4 days. Then when he goes back in there to go follow up with you, you've moved on. So it's kind of like if you don't strike while the iron is hot, and within the first 3 or 4 sentences arrange a in-person meeting in a public place that is highly populated for the safety of the ladies, for the safety of the men, because these women are reckless out here. You don't want to be caught up with a female that's underage pretending like she's grown. If you're not locking it in inside of that first 2 to 4 sentences, like, really, you like it. If you put enough detail in your profile, in your bio, they should know enough about you to say, I want to meet you. And if they want to meet you, then they should be able to touch base with you, hi. And then, are you in XYZ area? Yeah. Can you meet me at such and such a place? Yeah. What day you want to meet? This time at this date. Meet you there. That's it. You should already know what each other look like because you got each other's profile photos, and then you meet up in a public place. From that point on, from the in-person engagement, you should be able to work your way into all of the intricate details beyond that to see if a second date is worthy. But the way things are right now, you're talking for 2 weeks, you're texting back and forth on this dating app, you're paying for a membership on this dating app, and it's not going anywhere. It's not going to transition to talking on the phone. It's not going to transition to meeting each other on a regular basis. So people are going to ghost you, because if you say something they're not interested in, instead of them saying something disrespectful to you, they just don't respond. If they find somebody that they're more interested in before you make them more interested in you, they'll just move on because they have access to hundreds of thousands of people on multiple dating apps at their fingertips. And the first text message that looks like this person might put out faster than that person, he's out the door. Same thing with women, is that the first text message where a guy is willing to throw a bunch of money at her, she's out the door. So those genuine men and women that are looking for long-term companionship, and it's going to be middle-aged men and women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that are looking for long-term companionship. The 30s, 40s, and 50-year-old women are not the point of interest for the 30, 40, and 50-year-old men. And the girls that are between 20 and 30 that are not interested in a long-term relationship, or more often than not on those dating apps looking for a good time, a sugar daddy. And that's just going to lead you down a path of problems. So she goes on to say, and that's one of the reasons why I say just meet him in person, talk to him in person. But she goes on to say, I'm texting somebody along the lines of a first message. I definitely agree on chain smokers being overrated. I listened to, I don't know who that is, Masculas More. You can check that out. They have pretty dope tracks. And then reply is, haha, want to rate my package. Well, yeah, she says, just wow. I could tell you that's true. She says, it's so icky and disrespectful. I feel they don't even see me as a human being. Of course not. You're an activity. They're trying to see what you're trying to get down with. So that's going to be, I don't agree with it. That's just how people behave. She says, or another one demanding I come and clean his apartment for free a few days so that he can see whether I'd make a good housewife for the family or not. He demanded this right after I texted him that I'd love to hang out and explore new walking tracks because he mentioned he likes hiking. Yeah, that's a problem. She's like, how a lot of convos turn into all this chaos within 1 to 2 messages. Any ideas? Again, like I said before, your best bet is to just talk to these people in person. Talk to somebody in person, not these people. These people are reckless. You need to talk to some people in person. If you talk to people in person, you're going to get a different response and reaction. A genuine man that is good-hearted is going to really enjoy a woman approaching him and telling him that she's interested in him and asking him if he has time for them to sit down and talk and have lunch or dinner right now, or if he can make time later today or later in the week for them to come together and get to know each other more. In those exact words, a man would just love that. A good man would love that. Guys that are trying to see what them cheeks do, you could tell by the way they carry themselves that that's not the kind of man that will talk to you respectfully. Okay. You can also tell with your type, because you got to look at the photo. A guy is not going to put himself in a three-piece suit promoting that he's a financially successful Wall Street stock exchange guy, and then he's going to walk up on you with goals in his mouth like how to be a player, trying to spit game on you and see if you and him can have an affair in the bathroom. The personality and the attire won't mesh. The personality of a guy that's looking for a late night creep is probably going to dress more creepy than a guy that is looking for a long-term companionship. Because guys that have gotten their mindset together, even if they've got a dorky look to them, they still got a reserved dorky look to them. Even if they've got a retired player look to them, they still have a reserved look to them. There's still some level of decorum there. But a guy that's trying to get it in, they're not carrying themselves with self-respect because they're not going to show respect for you. Their dialogue is going to be disrespectful from the gate. Hey, little mama, how you just know, okay? And you could just respectfully bow out of those situations. But the difference between social media and in-person engagements is that it's easier to ghost a person as soon as they say something that you don't like. In person, you have to find a way to respectfully remove yourself from the conversation. Then you've got to hope that they're not a forceful person that's going to grab you, hey, where are you going, and pull you back into the conversation. So upside, talk to people in person, keep your 10 feet between them until you feel comfortable with getting closer. Downside, you have to find a way to walk out of the conversation, excuse yourself to the bathroom or something to that effect so that you don't have to talk to them in person anymore. But the people in person are going to be less ridiculous than the people on social media. Now, here goes another one. I've come to the realization that I can't date someone who is disorganized and or lives in filth. My ex-girlfriend had serious organizational issues that permeated every aspect of her life. Her car was mechanically messed up and had warning lights all over the dash. Her car was full of trash. When I tried to bring up the fact that I was uncomfortable riding in her car because the trash caused me anxiety, she became angry and said, that sounds really entitled. Okay, she's got issues. Her house was a complete mess, and that's a compliment. My mom came over one time and told me that her place looked like a drug house. Okay. Her appliances are broken. There are clothes, boxes, trash, waste, feathers, and dander from her pet birds, and genuine disorganization all over the house from top to bottom. Sounds like a hoarder, which is apparently a condition. Every room in the house was completely jacked up. She asked me many times to help her take her junk to the dump and using my truck and trailer to do so. But every time I came over to haul away the junk, she started having a freak out and couldn't bring herself to throw anything away. Keeping in mind that we were trying to get rid of junk furniture that was completely broken, cigarette stained rugs, cracked plastic chairs, carpet that had already been partially ripped up. She couldn't get rid of it. I eventually broke up with her because it was too much anxiety inducing behavior to be inside of her house. Why are you in her house though, bro? Like, I'm gonna get into this. Hold on. He says, I can't be around mess. I just can't. My place is perfectly clean. My bed is made. And soon as I get out of it, my chair, he makes his bed as soon as he gets out of it. That's that military practice. My chairs are always pushed in. My things are always organized and put away. I understand that not all people are like this, but I am. I need to live a certain way, and I just can't be in a relationship with someone who is in the complete opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to cleanliness. I felt profoundly disrespected when I tried to bring up how uncomfortable it made me to go over to her house since she refused to listen to any of my concerns. I just couldn't see myself being with someone that long term. And I'm very happy with my decision to leave. Dude, I can't see how you managed to talk to this woman long enough to call her your girlfriend if once you got to the house and the house looked like a salvage yard, that's when you're like, I gotta go. Like, you're not even making any excuses. I gotta go. And you just leave. Like, what do you mean you're sitting over here talking to this female and you're dating her for a long period of time? See, that's the kind of situation where the body looks appropriate, the sex is reasonable, you're screwing this girl, so you're going to ignore the stuff that really irks your nerves. I tell people don't do this. I tell people on a regular basis that you are supposed to stand on your non-negotiable expectations for behavior. It doesn't matter if the other person is your type. It doesn't matter if the other person is putting out. It doesn't matter if the other person is paying all your bills. Whatever characteristics that they got that you can't stand from the first date, you are not supposed to entertain a second, third, eighth date. If you can't stand this type of behavior, as soon as you catch that, that is your non-negotiable expectations for behavior. That's a red flag. That's like, nope, this isn't going to work out. The longer that you stay in a relationship where something about the other person gets on your dang nerves, the longer you are going to be in a situation where you are not happy. And you're going to sacrifice your happiness for desire, because if there's something about them that pisses you off, then there's something about them that you wish that you could get but you don't have. So whether they're a generous person, they're wasteful, whether they make you feel good because nobody gives you any positive attention, whether they're good in bed, whether they're a good cook, whether they're really organized and they keep your life in order, whatever it is that you like about them, the other aspects of them that you completely despise, that part is the problem. I told you guys on a show before, my mother always told me that if they meet 80% of your expectations and the other 20% you can tolerate, then take them. But if anything in that 20% is a deal breaker, then it's a no-go. It's an automatic strikeout, because you're not going to be able to tolerate that. It's only going to make you dislike them even more till you guys end up breaking up. So once you find out that the person that you're with is not the person that you want to be with, you should be like, date 3, date 5, like, nope, this isn't going to work. As soon as you went to the house, it's not going to work. As soon as I got into the car, a person's car is going to reflect their house. So if the inside of the cabin is junked out, that means the house is junked out. If everything is taken out of the cabin and is thrown into the trunk, that means that everything is taken out of the common areas and shoved under the beds and hidden in the closets. The way a person keeps their car is the way they keep their house. If their car is disorganized, their house is disorganized. If their car is junky, their house is junky. So if their car's got old trash and food in it and roaches crawling all over it, guess what's in their house? So when you sat in her car before you made it to her house and you seen that her car was a pigsty, you should have broke up right there, because the house is clearly going to look like the car tenfold. So let's go on to the next one. As a 33-year-old man, I got a sus text from my wife who's 31. How do I process this? I have been married for a year, and my wife, within 2 months of marriage, after being in a relationship for a decade. So y'all been married for a year, been dating for 10 years, and 2 months into the marriage, she took a job 300 miles away from where we live. Did you guys talk about that? Now, you're going to say that our marriage never really got to settle down. Well, you're not supposed to be marrying the girl 2 months before she flies to 300 miles away, because 300 miles away is too far to drive. Okay. Well, that depends, because it's too far. It's a half a day's journey. Yeah, I'd say it's too far to drive. I mean, I might put 300 miles in. Because Florida, if you live in Florida, 300 miles isn't really, it's nothing. It's like a 4-hour drive. But you also have to think about, if you're living 4-hour drive away from one another and y'all not taking the time to spend 2 hours to drive halfway to meet each other in a city nearby, like that's not going to work. Long distance relationships don't work. It can work if you guys are loyal and dedicated and properly trained with like the higher levels of self-discipline. But more often than not, with the inconsistency of humanity in the United States, it's not likely to work long distance, because if you don't have access to it right here in front of your face, you lose interest in that and gain interest in the stuff that you got access to. So you got to think about that, especially if you spend more time over there than what you spend over here. The same reason why soldiers that go overseas for 2 to 5 year tours end up coming back with children, regardless of if it's a man or a woman. The same way when soldiers go overseas and are loyal and dedicated and they come back and their spouse has children. Either way, long distance relationships don't work. When you're gone for a year, 2 years, 5 years consistently, it doesn't work out. If you're gone for 2 weeks, yeah, it can work. A long distance relationship can work. If maybe even like a month, 1 to 3 months, yeah, it could work. Especially if you can fly back every now and again and check in on your spouse. Yeah, it can work. But gone, and like I only get to kind of see you maybe once a month kind of thing for a whole year, nah, that's not gonna work. You turn into friends with benefits, and then you just drift apart, because they can find attraction with somebody that they see on a regular basis. Now let's move on to see what else he says. Although the last year has seen its ups and downs, if there were downs and y'all were 300 miles away, the relationship is dead. He says, I have started to notice some off behavior. Of course you have. This one time while she was visiting, I saw a text on her notification bar where this male colleague text, I am not going to be staring at you. All right. She is almost always on the phone while visiting, but while away, I almost always never get an immediate response from her. Well, that's because she's not interested in you. If she's with you and she's texting people that's not with you, and then when she's not with you, she's not texting you at all, then her attention, focus, and desire is with the person or people that's on that phone. And when she's with that person or people, she has no interest in anybody that's not with her. That's not those people. And you're not one of those people. He says, I could be overreacting, but for someone who always has her phone on her, it could be not too much to expect taking hours to reply to texts from your husband. Bro, it's your husband. She should be FaceTiming you. She should be Skyping you. She should be WhatsApp video calling you. She should be Galaxy, Android, Google Meetsing you, and all this other stuff to make sure that she's in contact with you. When a woman is like infatuated with you, she's going to give you her undivided attention. That's what's going to happen. So if you're in a situation where you're talking to this female and the female is not giving you the time of day, that's because she's not interested in you. She's going through the motions. She's showing up. You guys are currently in a marriage, so she has this obligation, but that does not mean that she cares. Because people, men and women alike, leave the marriage emotionally before they leave the marriage physically. That's just how it is. Now, here's the kicker. He's got good news for us. Last night, she sent me text out of the blue that read, babe, smelling amazing. Probably to the person that says, I'm not staring at you. Because she probably sent that person a message to the magnitude of what you're staring at. Keep in mind, if she's got messages on her phone from other guys and she's married, you have emotional cheating going on. You shouldn't have to search her phone. But I bet that if she let you search her phone, she'd delete a bunch of text messages before she let you look at her phone. And if she's got to delete text messages from her phone, if she's got to purge her phone before she hands it over to you, or if she on a regular basis purges her phone before she comes home to see you, where there are gaps in the text message lines, you could tell if there's gaps because they'll be delete, delete, delete. If you got iPhone, you got Android, it's kind of hard to find. If you got iPhone, it literally tells you how many messages got deleted, and there's a way for you to go back and recover the deleted messages. But if you've got to do all that, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So Guy says, unless there's some sort of text game going around that I'm not aware of, I think that text definitely not for me. No, of course it wasn't for you, buddy. When I asked her what she meant, she said she was talking about this perfume I used to wear. It doesn't make sense. She was probably intoxicated, having a text message conversation with the guy across the room from her, and she texted the wrong number. Probably because she doesn't have your name saved in her phone so that that person doesn't know that you're her husband. And she probably doesn't have that person's number saved in her phone because it doesn't want you to know who that person is. And that could end up with her grabbing the wrong text message and sending a message to you. These things happen. You got to have two separate phones if you're going to try to be a player. That way, the phone that you pick up is the away phone, or the phone that you pick up is the home phone. And it's not the same brand, so that you know exactly which phone you're grabbing. He says, we've been together for over a decade, but I don't recall her addressing me as babe. Of course not. Just to be sure, I had this phone for 4 years, and I just tried to check our chats to see if she has ever addressed me as babe. Well, you don't have to double check that. You know how often she's called you babe since you've been married for the last year, and y'all have been dating for 10 years. And if she's never called you babe or honey or anything to that effect, and she's starting to use pet names like that with somebody, and it's not you, she's already having an emotional affair with somebody else, the marriage is already done before it could really get started. So he said, I couldn't find any other instances. So let's just say she was actually recalling a perfume I used to wear. Why would she text babe smelling amazing? Her English is pretty good, and she has never ever sent texts like these with punctuation all over the place and not making contextual sense. She is due in town for Christmas. Should I wait till then or catch her off guard before that on her campus? Well, my guy, if you want to do a road trip scenario and you want to surprise this chick and you want to catch her in the act and you want to show her better than you can tell her, then by all means, you can go ahead and knock it back. But the thing is that you're going to be trying to get confirmation, because if you show up on her college camp, this is the thing. She's going to college. She's in another relationship. It's just plain and simple. I'm not even going to take the long word around that one. She's going to college. She's in another relationship. And because if this was a work thing, she would be too busy unless she's like fraternizing with her boss, she would be too busy. And that particular type of behavior should not be condoned in a professional atmosphere. Doesn't mean that it's not, it just shouldn't be. Secondly, if you showed up at her job or you showed up on campus and you went to surprise her and you wanted to talk to her about like what's been going on, I'm going to be more than positive that when you show up, if everybody doesn't know who you are, that means that she has been talking about you. You start introducing yourself as her husband. People are going to be like, oh, I didn't know she had a husband. That's because she doesn't have a husband. You might have a wife, but she doesn't have a husband. So you just got to understand that once you receive that confirmation, the divorce is going to come about. Me personally, it's a lose-lose, because if you go to the campus and surprise her, you're going to find out what you didn't want to find out. If she comes to you and you try to confront her with it, she's going to lie. And it's not because she's a woman. Anybody who gets caught in the act is going to lie. So fact is that if you're in a situation where you don't trust her and you think that she's having an affair, you can talk it out, but your lack of trust is not going to improve, which also means that more than likely, you're either going to have to accept the way she's behaving or you're going to have to leave. Me, if my relationship dynamic has changed, I have learned from the past that I am not trying to fix something that I didn't break. So if this relationship does not look like it's going the way I want it to go, and it requires the other person to change their behavior for it to get that way, I don't see myself waiting for them to change their behavior. I would at first let them know what I'm not liking about this scenario, and then observe for a limited period of time if an improvement is going to occur. And if no improvement occurs, then the next time I address the situation with them, I'm terminating this engagement, because at an older age, we are not going to, we're not spending our childhood now exploring new things. So at an older age, we're not about to sacrifice ourselves to try to get out there and get the other person, convince the other person to try to like us. That's not what we're about. We're not trying to get that done today. So let's see. Let's move on to the next one. She found out what I look like and then blocked me. Ooh, that's deep. I met someone on Singles, and let's see. She said, "Oh, it's a Singles subreddit," and he says, "We chatted for a few days. Both of us were away or going away for the holidays, so we couldn't meet until after New Year's. So we just messaged. Seemed to be okay, and we had several things in common. She asked, can we exchange photos? We do, and then she blocked me. Wow, that's deep. I know I'm not pretty. 46 and still single proves that she's not the first to see my face and go, thanks, but no thanks, nor is she even the first to say enough for now and block me. Oh, well, try again. Well, I am not familiar with that particular app, but I'm guessing it's a texting app. They have these apps out there these days that are encouraging people to talk to one another for a reasonable period of time before they get to see the other person's photo. And the idea is more of a social experiment where if you can mesh with this person on an emotional connection, then you would have a stronger, deeper, more fulfilling relationship. People are still shallow though. So the physical attributes do matter. So if you're talking to a female that might be in her early 20s or she might be in her late 30s and she's looking for a more handsome fella and she looks at you and you're not that's not going to work. So while women are still chasing their type, it's going to be hard to say that we're going to go through a type and still find what we're looking for, what we need. But if we stick to our type, we have to find what we're looking for inside of our type. So for example, some men that are looking for petite women, short women, some of those petite short women have bad attitudes and are gold diggers because they're highly attracted by other men, which means that if a lot of men are looking for that same type of woman, a lot of men might bribe that type of woman with lavish gifts, which means that that type of woman might actually be so used to getting lavish gifts that she might actually expect you to give her lavish gifts. So the problem is, because you either can't afford that or you don't find the value in that, the issue is that at any point in time, you will be talking to this female and the female may not give you the time of day because you're not paying out that money. You may experience this with a large quantity of women that has that type. Not saying that women of that type does that, but I'm just saying, for example, for the sake of this discussion, you might find a large quantity of women that has that type and has that type of behavior. But if you go and find a woman with a different type of behavior will come about. Which is why I tell people a lot of times, instead of chasing what your type is, find something different because you might find what you need. So we've got this woman. She says this weekend at 29 years old, got very drunk and told my boyfriend, who's 35, his friend's wife, that he is cheating on her. Whoo! Can't hold water with you. I regret this a lot. Of course you regret it a lot. and created a big mess for everyone involved. And I'm looking for any advice on how to potentially try to salvage these relationships. Ain't no salvaging squat. My boyfriend and I have been together for about a year and a half. Well, not long enough for him to realize that you are a running faucet. Okay. He recently bought a ring but hasn't proposed. I don't see him doing it now since you done messed up all of his friends. How many marriages did you destroy with you getting drunk? I think that might now be out of the window because this weekend I got very drunk and stupidly and carelessly, and I cannot believe I did this, said to the friend's wife that the friend isn't faithful to her. This man doesn't cheat on his wife constantly, as do his other friends who were there with us that night with his pregnant wife. I have a lot of issues surrounding all of this. She goes on to say, and I've talked to my boyfriend about how much it bothers me a ton. And he has basically said that these are his long-term friends and their actions aren't his responsibility or his fault, which is true. I do really trust my boyfriend and love him so much, but I have serious trauma about married men being unfaithful because my boyfriend prior to this was secretly married and it really messed me up. I've projected that resentment and anxiety onto his friends, and I felt it inside but kept it in. Up until Saturday, when I made the comment to his wife while wasted. People typically blame stuff on the alcohol, but truth be told, your inner ambitions, your inner desires, your inner feelings typically comes out when your lowered inhibitions occurs from excessive alcoholism. So apologizing for your behavior because you were drunk is a futile attempt because you said what you really meant when you were drunk, and you were a bold-faced liar the rest of the time, because if you were who you really say you were, you would have never done that. Now, it caused a fight between them. My boyfriend and I went home, and I texted the wife, and the next day tried to apologize and projecting things. When I told her about the cheating, my boyfriend asked me to cover it up, and I did because I wanted to try somehow preserve the relationship between my boyfriend and I and not jeopardize the friend's marriage, even though it gutted me to do so on a lot of levels. I know my feelings of anger about cheating friends are valid, but it absolutely wasn't my place to say anything. I'm looking into therapy to handle my anger on infidelity, and I am considering seeking treatment for alcohol too, because I think I've been using that to cope with the painful feelings I still have that are left over from my last relationship. But I'm freaking out because now I have created this giant mess, both for my boyfriend, his friend, wife, and for the relationship between my boyfriend and I. I damaged his trust a ton, and I know like a liar, and I now look like a liar and a manipulator. I am reeling and incredibly embarrassed and sad, and really look for any advice people might have about how I should approach things with my boyfriend, and if there is anything else that people could think I could try to do to make up for my mistakes. Thank you in advance for any thoughts you might have. I'm really struggling and feel awful. Well, you should probably feel bad because you're not standing on your non-negotiable expectations for behavior. For you to hypocritically say that it is not my place to tell the pregnant wife that the husband is cheating on her with another woman is to say that when you were the other woman, it was okay, because it wasn't anybody else's place in your last relationship who recognized that you were the extra woman. Nobody told you that that guy shouldn't be with you because he has more than one woman. Since we're in a society where the women don't want to share the men and we're in a society where every man is supposed to be locked into at least the woman that he married to. Since that's what we're dealing with right now, you're supposed to understand that if you wish somebody would have told you when you were the extra woman, you should be the person that stands on those principles and say, don't bring me by your friends, because if he's cheating on her and she's cheating on him, I'm going to tell somebody. So just don't bring me around him, especially when there's alcohol involved, because I am not okay with that. And just not go over there. That's how you salvage your marriage. You're not going to call the woman up on the phone and ruin her day, but you're also not going to go hang out with them because you don't condone the behavior of the men. And men aren't the only people who behave like this. Women behave like this too. And if the roles was on the other foot, no man is going to be okay with a dude that is supposed to be somebody he knows and says, oh yeah, she's cheating on him with the other guy, pregnant for his baby, and telling you that that's your kid. No, that's not okay. That's not okay. So if it wasn't okay when you were the one that was the extra woman and the man was cheating on his wife with you, then it's not okay when you recognize that the man that you're looking at is cheating on his wife with another woman. Stand on your principles. So yeah, you want to go get therapy? Get therapy. You're not accusing your boyfriend of cheating. You have an alcohol problem. Yeah, go get treatment for that. But don't change your principles just because these people are garbage. You can't sit here and tell me that because somebody else isn't responsible about their stuff, somebody else isn't showing morals and respect, and they're not showing mutual respect for their partner, that you should compromise your own beliefs in order to satisfy them. That makes absolutely no sense. So even if that means your boyfriend's got to find new friends, his friends are not going to be cheating on his wives, on his friends' wives, and then coming and hanging out with you like there's nothing wrong. But we also have to remember, I got to point this out real quick. Ladies, there are a lot of men in these relationships that are not being satisfied by their wives because the wives are choosing not to satisfy their men. There's a lot of men that are in relationships with women that are emotionally neglected, physically neglected, because the women have headaches, their back hurts, they're cramping, they're tired, their stomach hurts, all these excuses that they have, but they want the men to be exclusive. If these women are clocking out 3 weeks out of the month and their man has needs that has a reasonable expectation of 3 to 5 times a week, then that means that 15 times out of the week, he's going to be seeing another woman because she is not taking care of his needs, but she wants him to be exclusive to her. Now, some relationships, they are okay with the infidelity. They don't talk about it, but they just don't want anybody else to know about it. You find out that she's letting him cheat on her, she's going to get mad because you found out, not because he's doing it. So a lot of times not saying nothing, probably the best thing for you. But a lot of times not going over there so that you don't have to say anything, probably an even better scenario. We got enough time. I think we've got like 5 more here. So the bar is in hell. Okay. As the title says, the bar is literally in hell. What is up with these men not even wanting to plan a simple date? Nobody is asking you to make me to take me to Michigan and start a restaurant. All of us women are asking is if you can plan one simple gosh doggone date. Why are so many guys like, I don't know what to do? What do you want to do? Okay, I don't know where do you want to go? I was talking to this guy last night. We've been talking for about 2 weeks, and he asked if I wanted to go shopping with him. And I was like, sure. He was like, what mall? I said, I don't know. He then said, let me know when you figure that out. Excuse me. You want me to go shopping with you, not the other way around. I said, never mind. Let's do something different because next week is going to be a busy week for malls. He then said, I don't have any ideas. All I know is going to the gym and chilling out. Oh my freaking gosh. You don't know how to ask me out and plan a simple gosh doggone date. No wonder why there is male loneliness epidemic. No, that's not why there's a male loneliness epidemic. The men have given up on the crap that women give men, because a lot of the times when a man asks a woman out for a date, a woman has so many expectations about what she's not willing to do on a date. She doesn't want to go to certain places. She has a list of things that she's not okay with, but she will not put up the list of things she is okay with. The same way he asked you which one you want to go to, you were indecisive. He's indecisive because he doesn't want to disappoint you. So he's going to ask you what would make you happy in this situation. You don't even know. So how can he do something that makes you happy? He said, let's go shopping. He was doing something that you want to do, because men don't like to go shopping. Men are in and out in less than 15 minutes, and they specifically go to the store for the one thing that they needed to go to the store for. If they go to the store for a few things, that's because they planned this over a long period of time to go to the store, buy all of these things in the same place, and still be out of the store in less than 20 minutes. So it makes absolutely no sense for a man to say, let's go shopping. He said, let's go shopping because he thought that it would make you smile to take you somewhere and him spend money on you touching stuff. And at the end of the day, you were so insensitive to the fact that he was trying his best, instead of you picking some place for y'all to go, since he's clearly offering to buy, you just ruined it. Fact of the matter is, ladies, since you guys are supposed to be equal to men, you guys have the responsibility that men have to pick where to go, pay for the date, pick the men up. So if he's driving and he's buying and he asks you what you want to do, you be financially reasonable with your request, but you pick something. You pick something this time, and then you let him pick something next time. As a matter of fact, since you already know that if he's a reasonably good man that's a hopeless romantic, and he's probably going to pick something that he thinks you like, then you make sure that you pick the next date of something that he might like. That way, if he's doing everything he can to impress you, you're doing everything that you can to impress him. That is the way that you go about doing that. So since he doesn't know what to do to take you out on a date, you tell him, let's go where you would like to go for fun, instead of taking me where I would like to go for fun. I want to know what you do for fun. So take me someplace that you would like to do for fun, and then pretend like you enjoy it, even if you hate it. The same way men go to operas and they despise it. You go wherever he wants. If he wants to take you to a game room and play video games, just go. Just go. All right. Next step. How do people fall for this? Has anyone seen more obvious messages from scammers? Let me tell you what the bio looks like. Hi there, my name is whatever. I am thrilled to be here on the dating site. Describing oneself can be a bit of challenging, but I'll do my best to give you a glimpse into who I am. I consider myself a adjective person. Always strive to find joy in the little things in life has to offer. In terms of my interests, I have a wide range of hobbies that keep me engaged and fulfilled. I'm a passionate, active hobby. Yep. Okay. So I'm passionate about an activity or a hobby, and you'll often find me doing related activity. It's my way of unwinding and finding balance amidst life's hustle and bustle. Additionally, I love exploring new places, whether it's trying out a new restaurant in town or embarking on an adventure to a far-flung destination. Lies. I am always up for trying new things. Okay, so that was complex, but I can tell you that you can figure out what people are looking for in their social media bios. Because truth be told, when women say that they're looking for a generous man, they're looking for a man that's going to spend a bunch of money on them. When they're looking for somebody that's not going to be a jealous man, they're looking for a man that's not going to tell them what to do. When they're looking for somebody that's free-spirited, they're looking for one-night stands, potentially threesomes. When they're looking for somebody who is not controlling, in a sense, they're not going to tell the woman what to do so she can do whatever she wants. They're not going to dictate terms. She's looking to be irresponsible and not held accountable for that. You're very rarely a woman that says that she likes to travel, she likes to waste your money, because when you say that you like to do something, it's something that you're already doing. So you cannot tell me that you like to travel if you've never gone anywhere. If you like to travel, you must have bought 3 plane tickets this year. If you like to travel, you should at least leave the country once a year, if not twice a year. If you like to go down the street and hang out at the local bars and pubs and restaurants to vent after a long day or a week of work, that's not traveling. That's just getting out of the house. When we ask women what they like to eat food-wise, they always say steak and lobster because that's the most expensive thing on the menu. But truth be told, you don't buy yourself steak and lobster on a regular basis, so it makes absolutely no sense to set the bar so high. You might like steak and lobster, but I'm going to get you burgers and fries if you're lucky. You might just get the fries and I get the burger. So you got to really think about this, unless it's a cheeseburger with no cheese on it because you haven't earned the cheese upgrade yet. Think about that. Now, you're going to have certain bios that are going to really be digging deep into nothing, but you're going to have some where people really put their 2 cents out there. They're going to tell you how they've been through a lot. They're going to tell you that they're traumatized. They got kids, stuff. And throughout that, you have to weed out, is this person problematic? The more details you put about yourself on social media, the more the world knows about you. And if somebody's going to tolerate that behavior, the likelihood that you might have a positive relationship. But you also have to understand that the more information you put out there about yourself, the easier it is for you to get scammed by somebody. Because we got a lot of scammers that's using social media to pick people up and convince people to spend money on them so that the scammer can walk away with their identity or walk away with a bunch of money voluntarily donated from the other person. And it's not what it's supposed to be. Again, I would put you in a position where I would say it's better for you to try to meet the person in person. If you're interested in the photo and you're interested in some of the dialogue that they put into the comment section. And then after that, you should try to get to know them better in person. But if they're more interested in texting you for a few extra days or weeks to quote unquote get to know you better, they're just fishing to try to get some information out of you. And I would move on from there. Ghost them, since that's our tradition right now. Let's move on. We got like 4 more, and we actually got a few minutes left. So guy thinks he ruined it. 29-year-old. He went out on an amazing date with a 23-year-old female this weekend. So he met at an arcade. Pretty good. We played games for a little over an hour and ended up with a pretty hefty bag of candy. Sounds great. We didn't talk much at this point. We were just having fun playing games together, which is an awesome date. After I asked if she wanted to go have dinner, she agreed because she's hungry and she's not paying since you asked. And we met up again at a popular local steak place. Clearly, what I told y'all about the steak. Now, they were busy and had a 30-minute wait, so we ended up walking through a sporting goods store and chatting before dinner. Dinner was good, a bit loud, and there were a few awkward silences. I wouldn't say that because you're supposed to be eating. But I didn't like to overshare on a first date. We complimented each other, and it was a nice ride. I paid for everything. Clearly, that's why she went. Open the door for you, basically just doing everything I could think of to be a gentleman. It's not always appreciated because women don't want character, they want money. This is not just a first date behavior for me. This is how it will be always. That's typically how hopeless romantic good men are. Women take advantage of this until they look for that kind of man when they're ready to settle down. Just sucks, but that's the way it is. The only small mistake I think I made during the date was I should have brought a jacket. I only wore a nice sweater to the date. It was cold, and I wish I had a hoodie or something to offer her. She honestly, this girl is exactly what I've been looking for. 100% my type, probably a red flag, but I'm pretty sure. I immediately caught feelings when we hugged. Yep, of course. Uh, when she showed up. Yeah, that chest will do it. That's not normal for me. All the other dates I've been on, I never immediately got attached. There's just something about this girl. At the end of the date, I walked her back to her car. We hugged. She said she had a lot of fun. I kissed her. She told me that I was handsome. And I asked, does this mean I'll get a second date? She said, maybe I'll text you. Now here we are where the mistake happened. I might be overthinking this. We text for a bit. For context, we met on Hinged. Her biggest red flag I've seen is she is super slow to respond. But when she does, it's usually a long, meaningful response. But I'd say her messages are usually 4, 8, 12 hours apart. So I started with, she said she was glad to meet. Where she was glad I made it home safe after the date. Okay. She told me good morning the next day and asked if I had plans. I said I was just working today. She said that she was just going to lay in bed all day. So I asked if she wanted to do something with me tonight at around 3. So that was about 3 hours later. Of no response, my buddies wanted me to go out and have dinner with them. So I texted her to tell her that I was going to dinner with friends tonight, but I really enjoyed our date. Would you want to grab some sushi with me on Friday? She said she loves sushi. I said it's been about 16 hours now with no response. I think I might have scared her off. I probably should have waited longer, but I really wanted to see her again. Maybe she's just not that interested. Should I just keep waiting? Anything I can say at this point to see? She agreed to the sushi. What are you talking about? To see like I'm trying to rush things. I don't want to date anyone else because I just want to see where things go with her, but looks like I'm cooked. Uh he didn't think that he was going to get a lot of responses about this, but after he read everything, he appreciates what he heard. It's been about 48 hours at this point, still no response, and haven't seen anything. Maybe she saw this post, and if you haven't noticed, definitely an anxious attachment. I don't think therapy is the answer. I Yeah, so you're one of those people that you wear your heart on your sleeve. But again, oh wow, he said this is his 10th first date over the past few months. Yeah, we have a record of going on more dates and getting rejected by women than what women get rejected by men. Uh and you get ghosted a lot before we get ghosted a lot before we get that one person that's like, yeah, we'll go for it. So I'm gonna tell you in the beginning that it burns. How you doing, Nick? It's good to see you, buddy. It's good to see you. He asked me any advice. Well, sir, in this particular scenario, I would recommend that you take 2 penicillin 3 times a day for the next 14 days, and that should make that burning situation stop. Next one. Only having women like me, it used to not be this way a few years ago. What has changed? In general, I don't look too different than I did during the pandemic, but I feel like Tinder likes where a good mix of attractive and unattractive people. The last year, it's only been heavy people that like me. Is the dating pool super saturated with options to where I get overlooked now? No. The fact is that the dating pool, there are 2 women to every man in the population, or most men in the Middle Ages. And the problem that you're going to have is that you're going to be looking at a large quantity of attractive and unattractive women that you are going to like. Well, there's going to be a lot of attractive women that's going to like you, and a lot of unattractive women that's going to like you. And the attractive women, you might like them, and then the unattractive women might like you. So during certain, we would call those droughts, where the overly attractive women are not on social media looking at your profile, you're still an attractive man, the unattractive women are going to be attracted to you. So you've got to really deal with that, buddy. It's not much that we can say about that. However, if you've been on a dating site for a long period of time and the attractive women have not been working out for you, you might want to give the unattractive women a try, because since unattractive women strike out as much as attractive men strike out, probably almost as much as unattractive men strike out, if you get to an unattractive woman, she's not going to go anywhere. So your probability for a long-term relationship is higher, but you still have to deal with the potential desire to cheat on her because you're not attracted to her. So I try to find a woman that I'm attracted to so I don't cheat on her, but apparently it is what it is. Let's move on. We got 2 more. Let's see if we can squeeze them in the next 10 minutes. Should I date a man I'm not attracted to? Yes, I was just encouraging people to date people that they're not normally looking for, because if you aim for something that's not your type, you might actually be more successful. So I've been single for a while and nothing seems to be working out for me. One of my female friends suggested I date one of my male friends that likes me a lot. Smart move, because you've already got a boyfriend right there if he's been committed to you in a friend zone for a long period of time. We do talk a lot, but there's one problem, and that is I have no attraction to him. I don't see the problem. Women allow men to do what they do because men have money. So, I mean, if you're willing to hook up with a guy because he's got a lot of money or spends a lot of money on you or takes you to a lot of fancy places, you can establish yourself a positive relationship with the guy that you're not currently attracted to, who will treat you like a princess and do the best he can to give you the world on a silver platter. The benefit is that you're valued and appreciated by the man that you're not attracted to. It's a fair trade-off. When we talk and he tries to seduce me, I feel utterly disgusted. Well, that might be a problem. You might have to take some Tums before you go for it, but you can still manage to do it. If we ever be in a relationship, I don't even want to hold hands. Okay, you're being too much now. But she says I'm going to stay single because men I do like always get rejected by. I always get rejected by, and I don't give the guys that like me a chance. Well, she's making a good point. She always says maybe it's karma for me because I reject these guys who say they actually care about me. What should I do? I believe you should listen to your friend, because you have bad taste in men, and those men are not attracted to you. You believe that you're a 10 when you're probably a 5 or a 6. You're chasing men that are 8s. You're not an 8. And the fact is that you're turning away the 5s and the 6s that are on your level because you believe that you're better than them. And that's going to lead you to this false sense of security where you're going to be chasing a man that's not going to want you. You're going to get mistreated by the man that's not going to want you. And then that's going to put you in a bad scenario where you're going to think that all men are garbage because none of the men that you've chased want you. But all of the men that want you are either in the friend zone paying for your standard of living or ghosted by you because you're not interested in them and they can't afford to pay for you. In both scenarios, it's not good for them, hence not good for you. Aim for the guys that are after you, because as a Jamaican once told me, love who loves you. It's easier to be in a relationship with somebody that's already loves you, where you can learn to love them, as opposed to you being in a relationship where you're head over heels for the other person and you're trying to convince them to feel the same way about you. The feeling of rejection every time that they don't reciprocate, and the loneliness that you feel in a relationship where your love language is not projected to you, you will have this sense of abandonment and it will develop into trauma, and you're not going to be satisfied with that. And after a while, you will find a way to get out of it, but it's going to take years to recuperate from. And people usually don't wait years to get back into another relationship. So you're going to have this baggage from the last relationship in your next relationship, which is going to make you an overachiever and self-conscious at the same time, trying to make the next relationship work because the last relationship failed without you fixing the problem. That's the best I can give you. Next person, the last person for the night. So, impossible to date as an unattractive woman. Of course it is. Yeah, sure. Looks are not everything, but it's literally the first thing that men will look for when they're trying to get to know someone. Nope, we look at your age because you've got to be over the legal age and you have to be young enough to reproduce. Then we look at your attractiveness. They be like, cute enough. Exactly. Now let's see how our personality is. Exactly. Or how we vibe together, which is exactly the same thing. We want to know if we can get along with you. Can't really blame them though, because you have to be attracted to someone in order to pursue an interest with them. Almost 28 years old now, and so far I've only had 4 online relationships. That's always ended badly. I've met 2, but ghosted me after seeing what I look like, and 1 give me insane character development. And this last one left me with critical damage to my heart. All right. I feel like this is my peak of how better I can be. The skinniest I've been, nice hair, learned makeup that suits me, dress very nicely, clear skin, have a job. We don't care about that. Have no criminal record. We don't care about that either. Volunteers at different conferences. Don't care about that neither. Have close set of friends. All of these, but somehow not enough just because I'm not pretty. It's really hard to feel bitter and jaded about everything. I think I followed most of the advice online. I tried, but more likely this, but like that. Have hobbies, but be interesting. Man, I just want to love someone for someone to love me back. I want the feeling to be high because you're with you're with your person. Okay, that makes a little sense. So impossible for an unattractive woman. Well, no. I think that you're barking up some of the wrong trees, and that's going to be one of the reasons why things aren't working the way you want it to work. You're probably going to have to change your dynamic. Even as a reasonable 5 or a 6, you have the capabilities of meeting the type of man that might treat you the way you want to be treated, but this might not be the type of man that you're attracted to. So go find people that you're not normally attracted to. Go find people that aren't your type. Go places that you normally don't go to find a man. Typically find men on dating apps. Start finding men in person. Typically start finding men in clubs. Stop looking for them in clubs. Start looking for them in places that you normally don't find a man, like a game room or a bookstore. I don't encourage talking to people on their jobs, but I mean, if you're going to talk to somebody on their jobs, get a waiter or a waitress. If you're looking for somebody that is really good at organizing things, go talk to a housekeeper or a hotel manager or something like that. You know, get you a chef, find you a cook that knows how to cook. You know, you just got to go to unorthodox places. That's going to be the best way for you to make it work for you. But all is not lost, because there are enough rejected men in America where somebody will give you the time of day, but you have to be useful to him. That way, he benefits from your existence. If you're not useful to him, then you're in a position where like the attractive women, all that you're bringing to the table is sex. And if that's all you're bringing to the table, your lack of attractiveness is not enough for you to win him over other women. You have to have good personality. You have to be helpful. You have to be respectful, and you have to be able to cooperate with his expectations. And then your lack of attractiveness will beat out the other women's excessive attractiveness, and you will still be able to bag a man. You'll just bag a man using something that other women don't use: your brain. With that being said, I have to put a pin in tonight's show because in about 5 minutes I have to tiptoe on over to another client that I have to start up. So I told you guys I was giving you 2 hours. I gave you close to 2 hours. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. We're going to tiptoe into tomorrow night's Amazon discussion. We're going to be trying to tee it off right around 10 o'clock Central Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. I do believe that's 7 o'clock Pacific Time. So make sure that you stay tuned tomorrow. We're live 7 days a week. And as I always say, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking y'all to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. If you guys want to hang around and enjoy the theme song, because we have the album, it's dropped, it's in the comment section, look in the description. We've got all the songs and the links where to buy them if you're interested in them, or if you just want to rock out to them in your car on YouTube, we've got the YouTube links to them. Go check that out in the description. That's all I have for you guys for today. I really appreciate you guys for coming to the show. Thank you, Liberty Twitcher, Red Void, Omni81, AJ, Mr. Pibbs. Appreciate you guys from Twitch. Thank you guys for coming from Twitter, and appreciate the rest of you guys from YouTube. I'm your host, Xander, for This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.